What's going on, y'all? It's your boy Dunkin Kirkwood. I've been wanting to make this video for a while. I wasn't sure how to do it, but I wanted to say something to the world, especially people here in Western New York. So here goes. Listen, we gotta get out of this culture of fear. People are so afraid here to speak up for what they believe in, to go after what they believe in, to try to make a difference because they're afraid of like retribution from this government department, or they're afraid of, they're not good enough. It's just so much like fear and anxiety all the time. And that's how an oppressive culture is built, where people are like constantly in fear, so they're like being controlled. And we gotta break out of that. I've been going since moving back to Buffalo about 5 years ago. I've had like several different experiences, and I survived, y'all. Like, it's okay, even though they said don't do this, or you shouldn't do this, or wait your turn, or go along to get along, or whatever. Like, I did it my way. Some things worked out, some didn't, but I survived. My family ain't missed no meal. We still are blessed, got opportunities, our family's growing, house, new house, everything. Like, life is, like, God is continuing to look out for me and my family. And so I just want y'all to understand, you don't gotta let me give you some examples. Let me tell you what I mean. They told me that I shouldn't run for office, right? They said don't run for office because the political powerhouse machine doesn't want you to, right? But I ran. You know what I'm saying? I didn't win. But, we made a difference. We got people involved. We elevated some issues to the forefront, and life goes on. But there's so many people who want to run for office, who want to make a difference, they're like, no, it's not your turn. So they're like, oh, okay, I'll just wait 10 years till it's my turn, and 15 years till this group or that group says it's okay. You don't have to operate like that. Like, you can stand up for what you believe in. You can try to make a difference in your community. I'll give you another example. I was working at Northland, the Northland Training Center. And I won't say which one, but a state elected official had took a position or didn't take a position. I can't really remember. And I was advocating to push them. So I was going to make a public statement to push that elected official to stand up for this cause that I thought, it would be helpful for the community. It was an education issue. And the chief of staff for that state elected official called my boss at Northland and said, Dunkin works at Northland. Northland is funded by the state, so Dunkin should never criticize any of the state elected officials. So you either need to reprimand him or fire him. That's what they called my boss and told him that. Now, thankfully, my boss, at the time, he's a real brother. Like, he's a real deal. He didn't even acknowledge it as like a real, something or action to actually take. But he told me about it. And, he said, Duncan, I just want to let you know this is the reality. This is what's going on. And when I found out, before I spazzed out, normally I would just turn up, all of that stuff. But this time I just said, let me talk to, so I talked to a different staff member and ultimately talked to the state elected official, and they apologized and they said, they didn't authorize it. They don't, that's not how they conduct business, blah, blah, blah. Right. And so, we moved on from that. I've had a good relationship with that office, since then, no problem. But the point is, that's the energy in Buffalo. You don't do what we want. We coming after your job. Right, we coming after the way you provide for your family if you don't do what we want. Right, that's the energy, and we gotta break out of that. Because that's just not healthy for anybody. And you gotta understand that you can't be afraid to speak up and speak out, because that's gonna happen. Because just because they put it out there doesn't mean you're gonna actually lose your job. Then, okay, fast forward. Still working at Northland, and I'm looking to run for office. So the petitioning starts. We getting the signatures. And then the call comes in that I can't keep my job at Northland and run for office, right? And, I believe that was political or whatever. So I quit. I resigned from a great job under great leadership with a great mission to, follow my dream at that time to run for office and try to make a difference. And I didn't win. But guess what? Life went on. Me and my wife bought our house that year. So I didn't lose out. I got new consulting contracts. I got, new opportunities that I didn't even know existed because that space in my life was open. So I'm just trying to get y'all to understand that, it's going to be okay. Don't be afraid. Don't live in fear. we always do stuff with the school district, right? And the biggest challenge we have when we're trying to advocate on behalf of parents is that like parents don't believe they have the power to change the system, right? So when we're saying we should do this, we can do that, this policy needs to be changed, they're like, okay, you're right, but they don't actually believe, a lot of people, not everybody obviously, but a lot of people don't actually believe that this massive billion-dollar school system can be changed because a small group of parents want to see change. But, the track record shows different. I remember a couple years ago, every school has like a parent facilitator, and they were getting like a stipend. And a couple years ago, the school district said no more stipends for the parent facilitators. They just cut it. They made a decision because of like tax purposes, IRS, blah, 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 and they cut it. And so we, got all these parents together. We started, doing our advocacy stuff. And, a lot of parents was like, oh, well, they said it's over. They said there's nothing they can do. They had a meeting. They told us there's no more stipend. And we fought. And within 2.5 weeks, maybe 3 weeks, we got the district to reverse the decision and not just create stipends, but actually make the parent facilitators employees. Right? So, parents coming together made a difference. What else? I wrote a couple things down because I didn't want to miss it. Oh, yeah, we had an issue with the school buses. Right? The school buses were all running crazy late, dropping kids off. They dropped my daughter off on the wrong street. I mean, it was just massive issues with First Student. And I talked to the district. They're like, there's nothing we can do. I talked to my kid's school. There's nothing we can do. Talk to First Student. There's nothing nobody can do anything about these issues because they're like, there's a driver shortage. There's nothing we can do. Right? So parents came together. We started advocating. And through our efforts, we got the international president of First Student to come to Buffalo, meet with the district, and they ultimately made a decision to raise the salary of the school bus drivers to a rate that would attract more drivers. Right, so the current drivers got a raise, and new drivers would come in making like a living wage that was like a really good wage that would attract new drivers. So another problem that parents came together to solve. And then recently, and this is the reason it really sparked me to want to make this video, is a parent posted on Facebook that the BPS had a no spectator policy, which meant in every school district in Western New York, if you were a student athlete, you could bring 2 parents to the home game. Is especially your senior game, like this is the last year of senior games, you can bring 2 parents to watch you in your last home game. But in Buffalo, they made a decision, you can't. No spectators, no media, so that means your parents can't come, coaches from colleges can't come, media can't come so they can give you coverage and shine, so you can try to get recruited to colleges, right? And so a parent said last week, he said on Facebook, I know it's too late for my daughter because her game is in 4 or 5 days. So it's too late to get a change for her. But let's do something so we can help these other parents. So yeah, we helped them, and yeah, we all came together. We brought awareness, and board member heard, and board president Sharon Kopman heard the voices of parents and advocated on behalf of parents, and the superintendent and the district actually listened to the voices of parents and took in the new information and made a new decision, and they changed the policy so that parent and other parents could go to their children's senior game, which was awesome. And we applaud the superintendent, we applaud the district for listening to parents, we applaud board president Kopman and board member Hurd for listening to parents and advocating for families, right? But here's the thing I want parents to know about that whole situation. The thing that hurt me the most is that parent thought that there was nothing that they could do for his child. His statement was, it's too late for my child. That's so disheartening to know that if you feel like something wrong is happening to your child in this city, or the district is doing something that's harmful to your family, that you feel powerless to do anything about it, and definitely powerless to do anything in a timely fashion. Parents got to understand, we can change the system. We can make this system work for us in partnership with the leadership or advocating to the leadership. Like, we gotta understand, y'all, we can make a difference. And because in Buffalo so often there's this culture of fear, people getting beat down by the system, a lot of people are like giving up, like, oh, it is what it is, right? And I just want people to understand we always have a role in advocating for our children, for our families, for our communities, and we can actually make a difference. We can create change where we see it so that the system works in the best interest of families. And that goes for our lives as well, y'all. If you want to run for something, you want to stand up for something, you want to speak out for something, don't be afraid of the repercussions if you know you're on the side of right. If you know in your heart something is good for our community or good for your children or good for the other children of this community, don't be afraid to say it. Say it out loud. Say it on social media. Say it at work, right? Do it in a tactful way. Do it respectfully and out of love, but speak your truth so that we can make our community better, like for everyone. And whatever repercussions happen or punishment or whatever happens, happens. Live with it. Because usually what happens is somebody will try to undermine you, but they actually set you up to be better and stronger and go further. Like your blessing is in there, right? But you won't get it if you're operating in fear.